Welcome to the Business Therapy Show. Stay tuned for our next guest, who is a mortician, and a beautician, and also an aspiring new author who has an amazing story you don't want to miss.
With over 17 years of experience as an entrepreneur, Brandon Powell knows what it feels like to struggle while navigating the market. Likewise, whether you have just started your company or been dominating your industry for over 15 years, we all have needed clarity and inspiration. Regardless of your industry, profession, or service, the Business Therapy Show was created to showcase your journey. You have a story to tell. We are excited to discover how you have navigated the market, overcome roadblocks, and gain business clarity during moments of darkness. Welcome to the Business Therapy Show.
All right, welcome to the Business Therapy Show once again. I am excited and grateful. We have an audience here who has come to support my friend and client who is a little nervous, but we're going to work through that. How are you today, Miss Sheila?
I am doing great.
Shake my hand. It's over. It's over. I promise her today, those that are watching now live and here with us, I promise her that we will do our best to make her comfortable. And I want her to be comfortable because she has an amazing story that I think you guys deserve to hear. And I told her before we started recording that she deserves this. And it's definitely a story that we all want to be able to hear and experience. So with that being said, I built up all this suspense. Now let me give you the backdrop of what the purpose of this show is. This is really about the journey of finding clarity, which the opposite of that is to me, is darkness, going through life or your professional journey and not really knowing what's the best decision, how to overcome adversity, stagnation, hesitation, all of the things that can hinder you. And at some point we find our way to that clarity. And this show is about highlighting that success and that journey to achieving that. And that's why we have our guest here today, because she's been on quite a journey, had some experiences of unclearness, and now she's achieving clarity. Doesn't mean all of the adversity has eliminated, but I'm certainly grateful to have you here with us today. So, Ms. Sheila, with that being said, again, I built up all this anticipation.
Thank you.
Who is Sheila Holloway? Tell us.
Well, who is Sheila? Well, I'm kind, I'm very spiritual, creative, I can remember as a little girl how I just always loved to just love on people. And, I would write all the time. Back then it wasn't journaling. I just had a pink little diary that I would write in every single day and draw, and my mom would take me and my siblings to church every Sunday and Wednesday night, and so that's where I developed my love and my trust for God. Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, tell us about what has been the most exciting part of your journey, your professional journey.
Wow, as an author, just trusting and believing in God, just the way He started me on this journey, how He guided me through from beginning to the end of writing Crazy Has a Name. And just having, being able to help bring awareness to the stigma, a wider stigmas that's placed on mental illness disorders in way of using the word crazy. It has gotten, it's given me strength this was not an easy, it was an easy task for me. And so having to relive the moments, the days that day my son committed suicide, it was devastating, So when God just kind of guided me through that time and watching him, just coming out of it, being able to share the story to help others, it's really, that's been exciting, It's been an exciting time.
I'm glad to hear you say that it's exciting now,
Yeah.
because I have had the privilege of working on the project to help bring birth to the book itself, and I would like to unpack that because you've shared quite a bit in that small segment there. So you obviously are releasing a book,
Yes.
and it's called Crazy Has a Name.
Yes.
And so I fought with you a little bit about the title. I was like, because I told you, I said I wanted to test to see if you really believed in that title and the artwork, because I wanted to see, is this personal conviction? Because my mindset was thinking about branding and making sure it's clear, but
Absolutely.
you were very passionate about it. He was like, I'm not budging. And I knew then that it's connected to your heart.
Absolutely.
And so what does it mean? What do you mean by Crazy Has a Name? Tell me about that.
Well, growing up, I never heard anybody put a name to the mental disorders and the mental illness out there, and especially bipolar. And I would always hear cousin so-and-so was crazy, and during this traveling through during this time frame of illness with my son, Lamar, we understood the correct names for these diseases, disorders that we have. And I often, even me, being guilty, using the word crazy when my son would do something sporadic. And I remember many times saying, boy, quit acting crazy. And as we got medically diagnosed, I realized that I wasn't helping the issue by using that word. And so if I can help bring awareness to, hey, let's reroute and truly understand what the word crazy means, so that we can actually start calling these disorders by their name, so that our loved ones would actually want to go out and get some help, because if you sit here and tell me, when I know and I'm battling with something with depression, well, why should I go get help if you think I'm crazy anyway? So, but you tell me, hey, baby, let's go get help. We're battling bipolar. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it gives me something to think about. Yeah, let's go do that. So, yeah, I want to help the world stop using the word crazy and understanding, put it in its proper text, so that we can, start having conversations about mental illness.
Yes, that makes sense. So I know for me personally, we in our family and at least from my culture and the family that I've been around, I think everybody has, now that y'all don't judge me, y'all watching this later, everybody has at least one family member that behaves either socially awkward or differently. And we sometimes, because we don't know the proper terminology or it's different, we make fun of it.
Absolutely.
We belittle it. Even if we don't say the words crazy, we will criticize it and joke about it publicly. And so even if that person realizes what it technically is,
yes,
it makes it very difficult to acknowledge it and then seek help.
Absolutely.
Because in our community, we, especially us as men, we get sick and we don't want to go to the doctor, and I'm guilty of that. I just recovering from a toothache, and I didn't want to go to the doctor.
Right.
Stubborn and all, but I can only imagine if I had something serious, a mental disorder of that magnitude, how would I come to terms with admitting it?
Right.
And then getting treatment for it, and then hoping that none of my family have anything but support for me.
Right. And even more difficult is talking about it out loud.
Yeah.
We want to hold on to it like we're the only ones that's going through it, or we're the only families that's going through it, and we're not. So I can remember not until, my son, I went through the death of my son and started to share his story out loud, that I even realized the hundreds of women that I was touching over the years in my cosmetology field, that so many women was dealing with this within their own lives, if not their personal, someone that they knew, and until I start to spread the news or open my story up, that I understand and that they begin to be comfortable enough to share their story with me, and I'm thinking, wow, I've been doing this person's hair for 20, 30 years, but my son started to suffer when he suffered, well, probably junior high age-wise. Had I heard of such a thing, then the signs would have been larger for me to have noticed and maybe got help even sooner. And so that's the importance of what my purpose is right now for writing this book, becoming an author.
That makes sense. Now, well, let's be honest. Not everyone's tragedy do they find a way to repurpose it in a positive way.
No, that's absolutely hard.
And you're finding a way to do that. So what is it, and maybe you've answered this question, but what is it that helped you transition that? Why did it translate to you to writing a book? What inspired that?
Wow, that's a good question. What inspired me to write this book? Really, the love for people, especially mothers with boys. The tragic that I went through, even, getting the phone call, the very first phone call, to having to pick a funeral home, all of those moments was very tragic for me. And there was no one in my space that I could share that with, or who could help me. My immediate family, the women in my life, had not lost a child. So if my journey through this loss and grieving can help another person, especially a mother, either recognizing the signs, especially single mothers with boys, that would be my purpose. Yeah.
And I think there's something unique about your professional journey. So you also are a mortician.
Yes.
And so you're accustomed to taking care of people who have lost loved ones.
Yes.
So how was that dynamic, that transition for you, who is accustomed to servicing others who have lost loved ones, to now you're a part of that process and it's hitting home? How was that transition for you?
Wow, that's a good question. Wow, that's
An audience, none of these questions are in the notes, so that's why she's getting a moment to. I told her I'm not going to ask all the questions.
Yeah, so really, I think it was just designed by God to put this upon me because, can you ask that question one more time?
So how you being a mortician already, because there's some part of you as a professional, you have to kind of disassociate, right? Because you're taking care of someone else's loved ones, you're a professional, so you want to focus on that. But then it hit home. How did you handle that?
Well, if we remember, first and foremost, when this happened to me, this journey began with my son in mental illness and him committed suicide. I was not in the funeral service industry.
Oh, so that. Oh, wow.
Right. If my son had never committed suicide, I'm pretty sure wouldn't be in the deaf and dying industry. The experiences that I had to go through with choosing a funeral home, dealing with staff members of funeral homes, it was traumatic for me because it wasn't a smooth ride. And so I remember, because being in the cosmetology industry for over 30 years at that time, I knew customer service, and I loved serving people, and I didn't get that. It was a horrifying moment for me, and
I can only imagine.
Mm-hmm. So I remember telling my girlfriends that I wanted to go and learn how to help families have a better journey than I had. And so God in his sense of humor sends me off to mortuary school.
Wow.
And at the time, I still was like, God, why would I go to mortuary school? I just buried my son, But I'm so glad that I followed the spirit inside of me, because it was very rewarding in meeting the different people and learning how to help comfort people, family members that had lost their child, especially through suicide, and of the age group. My son was 25. And now that journey and the creativity that's embedded in me, I just enjoy the restorative art part of it. I want to be able to have that loved one view their loved one in comfort, which I didn't have. I was robbed with that experience. I didn't have that great final last view.
Yeah.
And so my desire, my love, and my passion right now is definitely restorative art, making sure that loved one, especially that mother, never get to experience what I went through.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just take a moment to say thank you for deciding. So that was a pattern for me, is that the things that those traumatic experiences, those setbacks, you found a way to take initiative and do something about it and turn it into a service. Thank you for sharing that. And I've said this privately, but I'll say it even on this show. I'm so sorry for your loss, no matter how many years ago it was. And I share with you, when I was working on the project, designing the book cover, I was professionally disassociating, because I was like, my job is to lay it out the best I could. But there's certain parts when I got to his letters, I had to read it, because I was, I had to engage it. And I stopped being designer. I stopped being professional, and I was just a reader. And so it was very heavy for me.
Yeah.
Because I stepped into your world, and I can only imagine you've been in that world. I can't say past tense. You are in that world.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you have been for quite some time. And yet you still found a reason and a way to serve others. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. I have to always remember that it's not about me. It's about my son and his final words to me. He left his journals, his writings. He wanted to share with the world. A lot of it I don't even understand, but I could tell a lot of times he was writing in the moment of the sadness that he lived in. And he was a fantastic writer, beautiful spirit. And I just really, my desire is that it helps someone who reads it, especially those who are in such a darkness, dealing with such a disorder that is to nobody's choice that they're living in. I just really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, I appreciate you for sharing that. I want to take the edge off just a little bit, because I don't want to mess up your makeup. It looks flawless. So I want to kind of give you a chance to breathe and give you a lighter question for the moment.
Okay.
Talk to me about, and you may have touched on this a little bit, but tell me how has adversity or failure helped shape your skills along the way in your professional journey as an author, beautician, or mortician? How has that shaped your skills?
Well, I don't really look at it as failures, maybe more challenges, because it afforded me to wisdom, strengthen my faith in God, my resilience. If it wasn't my walk with God, I just don't, I wouldn't have the ability to to help other people, to share the story with others. And yeah, I had built such a wall around me, and to watch God, I saw him literally lowering those walls and changing that, the fears and all of that, to really uplifting. It just changed all of that for me. Yeah.
And you surprised yourself as you started working on this project. We talked about the options for how you wanted to, develop the project for the book. And you surprised yourself in terms of not only your ability to do it, but the receptiveness and the support. Explain for our viewers and the audience about Mental Health Champions and how we saw some positive support more than you anticipated.
Well, it was surprising me when you started that thought pattern, put that thought in my mind. I was like, why would they do that? And it really surprised me how many people wanted to join into getting this message out. And I can just only imagine that they were able to relate in some form of their personal life or someone they know. Yeah, let's get this word out. Let's get this stigma broken. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so just for those watching, what we did is, we're releasing the book. We wanted to make sure to have a specific section of the book where we would highlight those who wanted to be listed as sponsors, who wanted to financially support and say, hey, I am a mental health champion. I'm supporting the idea of breaking the stigma. And I believed in the concept. It was mainly because of you, because of your work ethic. And I said, you know what, this passion, you push back on me on the artwork, you push back on me on the title. I said, she believes in this. And I also saw how much of just a great network of people that you have. And I said, let's try it out. Let's try it out. And so there was quite a few people, some of who are in the live studio audience today, who say, you know what, I do believe in it and I will support. You know how you have those friends who, and none of those people are here today, who say, oh, girl, are we praying for you? If you ever need anything.
Right.
And then you call them and then they don't answer.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those.
But they're not here today.
No, they're not.
And y'all that are watching, y'all not those people either. But it was amazing to see that. So now you're etching out a book that will be here forever. Yes. And those people who contributed will be on that page for as long as that book exists. Mm-hmm. And so it's incredible. It's incredible that now I was excited. You know the saying I had. I'm impressed and I'm encouraged, but I'm not surprised.
Well, it was great to see you fall into that aha moment. You had your professional hat on at the beginning, like you said, and I knew that you didn't get the message right away. But when you got the message, it was so rewarding because I felt like, wow, I'm on a team that truly get this message where we're going with Crazy Has a Name. Yeah. And
I drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah. And see, that's part of my journey is I have to step into your world in order to understand it. And naturally, I'm thinking about the market and how they're going to receive it. But that only plays so much of a role. It really boils down to your belief in what you're promoting. And that translates far more effectively than anything else. All right. So now that I've had a chance to let you woo-saw a little bit,
yes,
give you another, a little bit easier question. Who would you say has been there for you to provide clarity in the darkest rooms of your life?
Who was there? Wow, that's huge. Because at the beginning, I at the beginning, there was a small group of women. When I first got that phone call, I was in the middle of my work evening, and there was 4 women in that room. And they didn't really say much, but they were just there. I knew that they had me. And so I'm thinking of that. And of course, my family was huge. Everybody's in Arkansas. I made that phone call the very next day. Everybody was there and holding on to me and helping me through this. But one particular person that had been in my shoes, Mother Harris. She had lost a daughter, and she knew God really foremost. Let me just even back all this up. God really, He ushered her into my life, and she called me one day, and I was at a very low spot. And I was having a rough time. And I remember her words to me. She said, baby, when you are really missing your child, when you really feel a hole of loss and loneliness, she told me, she said, you find your spot, you find your space by yourself. She told me, just go and close the door. She said, you call out and you cry out to the Lord. And she said, you thank Him. And because my first thought was, she's supposed to say that, why would I run and just yell out, thank God for, I just lost my son. I just buried my child. But then I did that. I said, well, I'll just try it. And when I went in there, and I didn't say, why Lord, why me, why Lamar? I just start remembering all the years, the 25 years that He gave me, and how precious I must be that He allowed me to mother this child for 25 years and all the good things. And I just began to thank Him so very much, just out loud, just crying and just thinking, the ugly cry. And that emptiness began to just shrink. So yeah, she was very, very, very pivotal at that point in my life.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for being willing to share your story and how you've navigated through the journey. You are quite impressive to me in how you've responded to the adversity. Again, we thank our audience for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for, again, being on the Business Therapy Show. Now you've found a way to package this into a book. Right now, as the recording is taking place, we have a pre-order campaign, and we have things that will be displayed on the screen on how people can support. But what if a person wants to be able to get in contact with you? Talk to our audience. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, there is a Facebook page, and Crazy has a name. You can always email me, Sheila Holloway at svcglobal.net. Have any questions, message me. That's the easiest way. And there is links on both pages, on the page to pre-order and to help me get this message out into the world.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, guys. This is the Business Therapy Show. I want to challenge you, if you're watching this and you have those untold stories, those unshared wounds, find a way to get with someone that you can share that with. Be encouraged, know that you're loved, and we support you. Thank you for tuning in with us today.